Introduction. The Battle of Chelsea Creek was a significant military engagement in the American Revolutionary War's Boston campaign. It took place on May 27 and 28, 1775, on various islands and salt marshes in Boston Harbor. The American colonists succeeded in removing important supplies from the reach of British regulars and captured a British armed schooner, the Diana. This victory boosted the morale of the colonial forces and contributed to the strengthening of the siege of Boston. The battle is also known as the Battle of Noddle's Island, Battle of Hog Island, and Battle of the Chelsea Estuary. Many of the areas where the battle took place are now part of East Boston, Chelsea, Winthrop, and Revere. Background. The Battle of Lexington and Concord in 1775 caused thousands of militia forces to gather around Boston, placing the British under siege. However, the British still received supplies by sea from Nova Scotia and Providence, making it challenging for the Colonials to stop them due to the British's naval control. Coastal farmers near Boston found themselves vulnerable because they were exposed to British influence from the sea, making it difficult to sell their livestock without being viewed as loyalists or rebels. The Massachusetts Committee of Safety ordered the removal of livestock from several islands near Boston, including Noddle's Island and Hog Island, which were inspected by Joseph Warren and General Artemas Ward a few days before the battle. The British Navy around Boston was under the command of Vice Admiral Samuel Graves, and the Royal Marines were led by Major John Pitcairn, while Governor-General Thomas Gage led the British forces as a whole. The British stored various naval supplies on Noddle's Island, which they deemed important to preserve. Battle. During the American Revolution, the British noticed smoke from burning hay at about 2 p.m., which led Vice Admiral Graves to signal for the Guard Marines to land on Noddle's Island. A combined force of around 400 Marines was landed and drove back the colonists' scattered forces. The colonists fled until they reached Crooked Creek, where they engaged in a pitched battle. The Marines withdrew, and the colonists joined the main body of forces on Hog Island. The British drove hundreds of livestock to the mainland while the vessels continued to pursue the colonists. Diana attempted to avoid being trapped in the creek and required assistance, which Vice Admiral Graves provided by ordering barges manned by Marines to tow Diana out. Some of Stark's men were driving livestock up the coast when they saw Diana, a British ship, in trouble. They called for reinforcements, and General Putnam and around 1,000 troops came to the shore near Diana. Putnam waded out into the harbor and offered quarter to the sailors of Diana if they surrendered, but the ship's cannon continued to fire. Colonial forces on the shore, supported by 2 field pieces, also fired on the ship. At around 10 p.m., the British rowers had to abandon the rescue of Diana due to the heavy fire, and Diana drifted and ran aground again on the Mystic River side of the Chelsea coast. Lieutenant Graves abandoned Diana and transferred his men to Britannia, which was towed to deeper water. American forces then boarded Diana and quickly removed everything of value before setting it on fire at around 3 a.m. to prevent it from falling back into British hands. The guns recovered from Diana were probably used by the American forces in the Battle of Bunker Hill. Aftermath. During the skirmish, the colonists successfully captured and destroyed the British schooner Diana. This action boosted their morale and was the first use of field pieces by the colonists in the American Revolution. General Gage reported only 2 deaths and a few wounded, but other sources claimed that the regulars suffered over 200 killed and wounded. Gage ordered cannons mounted on Copp's Hill in Boston and moved the HMS Somerset into deeper waters to the east of Boston. He also sent a detachment of regulars to secure Noddle's Island, which had already been stripped of anything of value by the colonists. The success of this skirmish led to the unanimous approval of Israel Putnam's appointment as a general in the Continental Army.